It's no secret money can't buy you love, but it's a lesson still to be learnt in Afghanistan, at least by the Americans. They've invested some $50 billion in the country. India, just over $1 billion. And the result? Latest polls say 1 in 2 Afghans want America out, while 3 in 4 want India in.
We have a long history of friendly relations between Afghanistan and India. India is our only neighbor who does not interfere in our internal affairs.
On the streets of Kabul, you don't have to walk too far. The flavor is often Indian, and the aroma unmistakably spicy.
Whatever I want I can find here. Lots of Afghans speak my language. There are Indian CDs, Indian books, and our languages are very similar.
And India's role, particularly in the medical and construction industries here, hasn't gone unrecognized. This is one of the projects built by the Indians 4 years ago. It brings water down from a river several kilometers away so that farmers here can easily cultivate their land. These young Afghans are all involved in development work. They say where India falls short in terms of cash support, it more than makes up for in understanding the needs of Afghanistan.
They are working in Afghanistan on basic things like dams, streets and other things, but America doesn't. And also, whenever they start a work or they start a project in Afghanistan, they are completing.
The main complaint? American projects are often inefficient and poorly resourced. While analysts say India is just better than America at developing projects Afghans want and appreciate.
Afghans love India. In my experience, India is just better at implementing projects than the United States. US projects often suffer from inefficiency and bad planning.
India is clearly held in high regard here, and it seems they haven't had to buy this positive reputation, a fact that could leave Americans scratching their heads.
रोडें बनाई है हमारे लिए, उसका कंपनी आ गई, उसके लोग अभी वहाँ पर काम कर रहे हैं, दिन रात काम कर रहे हैं हमारे साथ. तो इंडिया को हम लोग अपनी कल्चर वाइज ये भाई समझते हैं, क्योंकि बहुत सी चीज़ें जो एक दूसरे के मिलते जुलते हैं. तो बहुत कुछ किया है, अभी भी बहुत कुछ करेगा हमारे साथ, हमारी उम्मीद है.
You can ask any Afghan why they think there's so many problems in Afghanistan, and they'll just point to the hills and they'll say Pakistan. Almost every Afghan here blames Pakistan for giving the insurgents a haven, resources, and sending them over the mountains into Afghanistan to cause problems. And what's interesting actually in the last 12 months or so is the academic community that follows Afghanistan, the Western experts, have largely started to agree with the Afghans. There have been a lot of people who have started to come out and say publicly that they think the ISI, Pakistan's intelligence service, is supporting the Taliban one way or another. One of the things we looked at when we were doing the survey was, what is your attitudes towards Pakistan? We wanted to know what an ordinary Talib thinks about this country that is supposedly funding and supporting the insurgency. And what we found is actually very surprising, because the average Talib hates Pakistan, or at least says he hates Pakistan. And so what we're starting to see is a pattern of responses that suggests that, okay, if the Taliban are indeed creatures of Pakistan, that in fact they're not very obedient creatures of Pakistan. One of my friends has compared the Taliban to an attack dog on a leash that the Pakistanis are trying to use against Afghanistan, but that the dog has bitten its master, it's out of control. Another one of my Afghan friends used a different metaphor. He said, it's like burning down your neighbor's house, but then discovering that the fire has spread to your own house.
In a sign of increasing tension between the two nations, the head of Afghanistan's intelligence agency has accused Pakistan of not doing enough to fight terrorism. In an exclusive interview with Al Jazeera, Amrullah Saleh says the man behind the Indian embassy bombing in Kabul is now in Pakistan, but the authorities there have failed to take action.
The tribal belt, the lawless areas of Pakistan. Do you think, the strongholds of, the Taliban or foreign fighters, do you think the Pakistani government has lost control of those areas?
When did they try to control it?
They have launched a lot of military operations against the groups there over the past few months, and we're seeing now a major military operation in the Bajur region.
I am not sure. I am not seeing any Pakistan military activity in Miram Shah.
Why would you want military activity specifically there? What kind of information do you have?
Because that's where terrorist groups are headquartered. And of course, for arresting the Taliban Leadership Council in Quetta, you don't need a military operation. You just go and soft knock their safe houses and arrest them. Why they should need military operation?
Pakistan is facing a lot of instability now. I mean, there's more attacks, more suicide bombings in Pakistan than there are in Afghanistan at the moment.
The leakage of that wrong policy is now that they are facing some problems in their own country. But we are not seeing evidence. I'm repeating it. We are not seeing evidence of the relevant Pakistani institutions is strongly acting against these elements in the Pakistani soil. One of the masterminds of the Indian embassy bombing in Kabul, he lives in an area in Pakistan for arrest of whom you don't need a military force. You just send 2 security agents and he will be arrested. And they know who he is.
Who is he?
I'm not going to say that to the media, but they know, because we have sent that information through relevant channels and they know who he is.
You have to give Pakistan a title. Is it a friend? What is Pakistan?
It currently has the title of ally.
Right, deceptive.
So you think its title should be?
It should be a hostile country, a hostile state. They take your money, they do not cooperate. They created the Taliban, they are #1 in nuclear proliferation. You name it.
Good afternoon. We are going to perform a dance. Its name is Tarsak. And this dance is usually used in the marriage functions by the young guys. It's not a traditional dance. It's actually a fun dance. And also we are not professional dancers, so just we want to perform it. I wish you all would like it. And also I would like your clappings, please. Thank you.
Terima kasih.